Click on the button.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for today's seminar, DVR firmware release 1.4.0. Again, my name is Ami Feiner, and together with me is Ilan from our pre-sale department, and we will start our seminar. So enjoy, and let's start. Ilan, go ahead.
Okay, so hello everybody. In Israel, we say good morning by now. So the first topic we're going to talk about is smart motion detection. We have added to our DVR a new version 1.4.0. Let's view how exactly it's working, how we operate it, configure it, and how it is applied on all the channels. So just a second. Yeah. So this new feature is allowing you as the user of the DVR to enable this new interface, which is called SMD. You can choose the camera that you would like, and then you can define to enable this feature, which is called SMD, Smart Motion Detection. And then you are going to have an ability to choose the type of object you are going to detect. Meaning that in some cases, maybe you're going to look specifically for humans, and in some other cases, you're going to look for vehicles, and you can define your sensitivity. So let's see how exactly it's working. We have recorded for a video for you, so you'll see exactly how it's done. Let's review it. Okay, so we're clicking on the menu button. We're going to the settings, and we're going to go to Events and Analytics and to the analytics itself inside DVR. Later on, we're going to click on SMD, and inside SMD, we're going to enable it. Now, SMD, I would like to pause here, explain the logic behind SMD itself. SMD is basically working as motion detection. On top of motion detection, there is a layer which is looking for a specific target. And this is why it's called SMD, not MD motion detection, but smart motion detection. And it's working basically on top by you choosing specific area, a region of interest where you want to find the motion. And later on inside this motion, you want to analyze it and understand what kind of target actually you are getting in this specific area, region of interest. So currently you see this those squares. So we're going to define specific area where we want to find this motion. So we're going to create a few regions of interest. Like those that I marked. And then we're going to look specifically for humans. So I'm unchecking the box of vehicles. And in trigger, we're going to see that's going to be a very simple trigger. In this case, we just want to do pop-up. So we'll see that our process is working. And I'm choosing which cameras I'm going to record if this event is going to happen. So I'm choosing 3 cameras are going to be recorded based on this event. And it's going to create a snapshot from those cameras. Okay, so we just finished. The most important part is video pop-up. So we're going to see how it's actually going to work. Now, once we're going to see that there is a motion, you see there it's now divided by 4, okay? And now when the camera is going to, basically it's DVR, when it's going to detect that there is a motion, it's going to check if inside this motion. And if it's highlighted by those green squares, we find that there is a target, which is humans, then we're going to see a full window pop-up. So we'll know that this process is actually working. Okay, so once we're going to see that there is a human being coming in, okay, if I'll just roll it back a little bit, you see there is a human being coming here. So it's coming here, and immediately we're getting this full screen, which is showing us that it captured in specifically this area, a motion, and inside this motion, it found out that there is a target, which is human. Same goes here. So if you look here, we marked this area as well, and we are getting here a motion of a target, which is a human being. Okay. So this is SMD. And now we're having a new ability to do AI analytics as well, like a crossline or stereo area. And we're having exactly the same logics as in NVR. And in this case, we're just choosing the camera. Inside this camera, we're choosing to work with stereo area or line crossing. You're enabling it on this specific channel. And we are choosing again, like previously, like with SMD, we're choosing what kind of target we are looking for, if it's human target or vehicle target. Now, before I show you the video, you might ask questions that I would like to answer ahead. So SMD can be active on all the channels. It doesn't require from DVR any extra power. So if you have, for example, 8 channels, you can operate all those 8 channels to run with SMD and let your customer to avoid some irrelevant alerts. Okay, so this is for SMD. But if you're going to use the crossline or sterile area, it means that you need to remove 4 channels. This ability of SMD is going to be removed. So, for example, if you're going to run on first channel, it means that channel 2, 3, 4, and 5 is not going to operate SMD. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 are not going to run SMD, but instead of it, it's going to run just one channel of crossline or sterile area. Okay. In addition, if you're working with DVR and you're adding to it some extra IP cameras, then you are capable now to configure the crossline and sterile area through DVR itself, which gives you big flexibility. There is just one point that I want to mention here, that you are not capable currently to define the target if you're looking for human or vehicles. But it can be, of course, done by the web interface of the camera itself. But by default, you have both targets of human and the vehicles on the IP camera triggered as on. Okay.
I
So
want
this
to
is
stop, Ilan, I want to stop you here for a second.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that all of us understand we're talking about analog DVR. SMD is smart motion detection, but we're talking also about the new feature, which is AI, true AI. As you know, Provision ISR have DDA analytics in IP market, in the IP camera and in NVR. But here we are talking about analog camera with an analog DVR. The DVR will be able to do DDA analytic, what Provision ISR call DDA analytic, on any IP, on any analog channel. It doesn't matter if the channel is a Provision ISR analog camera or other old analog camera, the DVR is the one hosting and performing the DDA. But as Ilan explained, it requires power resources from the DVR. Therefore, for every one channel that we're gonna initiate DDA analytic, we are canceling basically 4 channel of SMD. That's the thumb rule that Ilan is explaining. And again, I want to emphasize that this is DVR analog cameras.
Exactly. Thank you for enhancing. I just wanted to continue with this point and explain, if you're still working in addition, on top of it, you're working with IP cameras, you already have an interface to define those cross lines and sterile areas. You just are not defining any target meanwhile. Okay, in next version, we're going to resolve this issue. Okay, but you can work with everything and you don't need to even to access the web interface of the camera. It will be, most of the features can be configured from the DVR itself if you're working with the IP cameras as extra channels connected to the DVR. Okay, so let's see how it's working with the sterile area. So exactly the same logic. I'm coming to the settings, going to the events and analytics, and going to the analytics part. Once I'm here, I'm choosing the camera that I want to work with. Of course, it's going to be analog camera. Okay, and then I'm going to enable sterile area. Okay, clicking on the sterile area. Going to enable this part. I can choose how long this event is going to happen for the DVR itself. And I'm going to define that I want to work with the targets. So it's going to become, this part is actually AI. So meaning that we are going to choose if this effect, if this object is going to appear across the area that we are going to define here in sterile area. And we're choosing which kind of target we are looking for humans or vehicle. Okay. So now the next step is going to be very simple. We're going to just define the area where we're going to look for this kind of target. And we're clicking on apply to save those changes for sterile area on this camera number 4. Okay. The result, of course, we need to define the trigger. So in this case, we want to do as we did previously, video pop-up. So it will jump and will be full screen when this event is going to happen. Okay, the next step is less important because we just defined which cameras are going to be recorded based on this event. Okay, now let's test it. So we're going to wait until the camera, and you see there is a vehicle coming in. When this vehicle is going to be touching this sterile area, we're going to have immediately the reaction to it, which is a full screen. And we are already seeing on the right side the targets. We are going to see the snapshots, which are actually triggered this kind of event. Okay, so this is how it's working now on DVR, and I remind you that one of those rules are going to reduce 4 of SMD channels that you want to run with this kind of analytics. Next, you are capable of searching for those events now. This is a new feature that you can go to, for example, for vehicles and define what is going to be the event, like crossing line or sterile area. And when you click on search, you're going to get all those events, and you're going to see all those snapshots. And you can click on those 3 buttons to playback this event and backup it to external device. So you have all this freedom with this new search based on those analytics. Let's see how it's working. So you click again on this start button, go to the analytics area, and this is where you're going to find all the analytic relevant events that happened and recorded by the DVR. So you're going to humans, for example, you're choosing the type of event. It could be a cross line or sterile area, and you're choosing the camera that you want to get from those events. So in this case, we defined previously camera 4. And now we're choosing, for example, the line cross, okay, from our previous recorded events. Okay, so when we click on the search button, we're going to get all the events which were captured by the DVR. Okay, so we see now all the snapshots, and of course we can play it back and see the event and of course backup it to the external drive, for example. Yeah, and if you just pause, for example, and just try to analyze this event, you can see exactly how DVR understood this event. So we see that the camera brought this stream, this video to the DVR, and it understood that it was crossed, the line was crossed by the human, and then it created and generated such a snapshot. Okay, so of course we can play it back, playback, and see. And it's going to bring us specifically to the timeline where we can see the event and understand that this was actually done. What was the trigger to create such kind of event? Okay, so this is basically a redirection to the timeline. Next, so if you are willing to get more information about what was the trigger, so now you have a new button that you can trigger and see the bounding box around every object and understand what was the trigger and why we had this event recorded. So let's see where exactly it can be done. It's very simple. You're going to the playback process. Okay, you are already inside the playback, and you see the timeline. You're clicking on this button with AI. This is down here near the pause, and you see all the surrounding boxes around the objects, then targets, and this is how you understand what was the trigger when, for example, this target touched a cross line, for example. Okay, so this helps you during the analysis of the event. Next one is HD encryption. So this is a very powerful feature. You should know that if your DVR or your customer DVR is going to be stolen, then if they're going to get out the HDD, the hard drive of the DVR, they can put it inside the cradle, and then they can use a software to play it back, and then they're going to extract all the information recorded by this DVR. Now, the new feature that is possible with this new firmware is that you can encrypt your hard drive. So if it's going to be stolen or taken by police, for example, they are not going to get the evidence unless you're going to provide them with a password. So let's see the whole process. So when you go to Start menu, go into Settings, and then you're going to work with the disk. And let's go to Disk Management. And then we're going to see all of our hard drives connected to this DVR. Now you see it's decrypted, meaning it's not currently it's not encrypted, but we can click on the encrypt data button, and then we're going to provide the password for this hard drive. So let's do a very hard password here. Okay, nobody is going to guess later on. So let's click on encrypt. Of course, it's going to check that we are actually the admin of this device. So we're going to provide the real password of this device. And once it's provided, we're going to click on OK, and the encryption is going to start. And the whole hard drive is going to be now protected with this password. So now we are safe. And this hard drive is not going to be later on a problem for us if it's going to be extracted by somebody. Okay, next topic is OnVIF support. So from new firmware version of 1.4.0.
Sorry, Ilan,
yes.
one remark.
Yeah.
The previous feature we just saw, it's part of GDPR regulation. You should know if you are coming from Europe, you should know that this is part of GDPR regulation, encrypted hard drive. And we were a bit late actually with this feature, but now it's here and ready for you.
Okay. So what I want to mention with this slide is that we have a new OnVIF support. So now we are supporting the OnVIF protocols of G, T, and S. But just to explain in which situations they are being using, we are using these protocols is when we are adding to the DVR IP camera, then we are using OnVIF S protocol. But when our DVR is going to be withdrawn and taken by, for example, external NVR, because to the NVR you can add external NVR or DVR by choosing the IP address and choosing specifically channel. So in this case, we're using OnVIF G and T. So it could be either NVR, which is taking the DVR itself with all the channels, or it could be external VMS system that is taking all those streams from the DVR and using DVR as a converter for analog cameras. So now we are supporting with this new firmware all those OnVIF protocols S, G, and T. Okay. Next one is about the POS, point of sale. So I'm going to enhance this point. So why do we need POS and why do we need integration to it? So if you have a point of sale, like a cashier, and we want to not to just record the camera which is looking on the cashier, but we want to get the textual information about the receipt itself generated by the POS, by the cashier. And later on, it's very convenient for the for supermarket, for example, to search for an event. So if somebody is coming and saying, I lost my keys when I was buying a watermelon, then it's going to be very easy to retrieve this recording based by, for example, on the watermelon or maybe on the smartphone number or phone number of the person who was buying this watermelon. So basically, this is the ability to search a string of text, and by this string of text, we can find the recorded event related to this purchase, to this invoice. Okay. So I'm going to show you a video in which I'm going to explain exactly this POS feature and what is the new in this new version in 1.4.0. So in general speaking, in the previous version 1.3.8, we enabled just one protocol of POS system. It was generic. Okay, and with a new feature, with a new firmware 1.4.0, we have a bigger list of those protocols of POS systems. Now, if we're going to go deeper with the POS, why it's used and how it's actually can be retrieved later on, I have recorded for you a video, and let's go over it and see exactly how it's working. So first of all, I'm opening this analog camera, which is running on the DVR. So basically what you see now is the web interface of the DVR. And I'm going to define now that this DVR is going to work with the POS system. It's like going to connect to some cashier. Okay. So I'm coming to the system, going to basic, and I'm going to the POS settings. Okay. So you see the interface I just showed you in a slide, but in this case, I'm going to actually operate it. So I'm going to turn on the connection to the POS system. I'm going to use the first line, and I'm going to say, okay, if I'm going to work with the POS system, which cashier computer is going to be connected to my DVR, where I'm going to get this textual information about invoices. So in this case, I'm providing the IP address of the cashier machine, of the cashier computer. I didn't have the cacher computer nearby in the office, so I'm using a simulator. In this case, my computer, which I'm recording this tutorial, is going to provide this cacher simulator. So I'm using IP address of my own computer, and you're going to see in a second why. So this is IP address. Okay, I took it by just going and checking my IP address of this computer because I'm going to run simulator later on of this post machine. Okay, this is my address 097, and this is going to run on my computer later on. Okay, so next I'm going to define what is going to be the protocol. You just saw that I choose generic one, but I can use as well other protocols of the post machines. So I'm going to click now the most important part, which is which camera is going to be overlaid by this textual information, which is coming from this post machine with actual invoice. Okay, so I'm choosing first camera. And I'm going to click on the next configuration of where exactly this textual information is going to be overlaying this video stream from my camera. So I'm choosing half screen. And now I have some kind of simulation on top of my camera, and I can choose different colors. Why do I use different colors and scrolling? So later on, I can maybe have a better way to check this text, because in some cases maybe the camera is overlaid with a very wide background, so we're choosing different colors to have a deviation between line to line with different colors. Okay, but in a moment you're going to see everything. Okay, so I'm finishing the whole process. I'm defining this to be with different colors, and once finished, I'm clicking on apply. And when we finish the process, now I'm going to run this simulator. It's very simple Excel executable file we created. Okay, so this is it's not a cacher, it's just a simulator for the cacher. I'm just running this text. This text, when I click on the start, output start, is going to appear and overlay my video from the analog camera. Okay, and it's going to be recorded by the DVR. So on top of the video recording, it's going to have textual recording that we can browse later on and find specific text and then video related to this text. Okay, so by clicking on the button here, I'm running the simulator and it's going to apply different type of products that I'm buying. This is like a real invoice that is going to be generated on a cashier. Okay, now once we finish and we have those events, let's understand how we actually retrieve them back later on when we want to review them and find them. So first process is just finding them on a timeline, just to understand how they are, how we can find them on the timeline, not by the metadata, not by the textual information. So by searching this camera, I'm finding this recording. And now if I'm going to recording, you see there is a purple color. Purple color meaning that on top of the video, we had a trigger which is coming from the post machine. Okay, so later on we understand that there are events of this type. Okay, but now let's go even deeper and start searching by the textual information inside this recording. Okay, for this one, I'm going to switch to the DVR itself, and I'm going to go to the search for events, and I'm going to go by event. Now, here I'm going to remove all the options we have here, like manual recording, by sensor recording, analytics, or motion. We're going to focus specifically on the post events. Okay, so I'm deselecting everything and selecting post events specifically. Okay, and now it's a time to choose the camera. So I'm choosing the camera. Of course, I'm having a time, what duration I'm looking for in days, and I'm choosing specific text. I remember that I was looking for pepper. Okay, so I'm writing here pepper. And I'm clicking on enter, and it's not key sensitive, so you can do small letters, doesn't matter. And I'm finding all the events here. So those are the events where we had this textual information captured. So you see there is a linkage between the video recording to the textual information generated on top of this video. So if you see, like I created for you this zoom, you see that this textual information is actually appearing here. And this is how we find the relation between the textual information we've been searching for to the actual video recording. This is it. This is everything we wanted to share with you regarding this new firmware. So it's a time for you to ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer it.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for this seminar. This was the end of this seminar for DVR 1.4.0. And thank you very much for joining us.